You're listening to Nurture Your Zest. I'm your host, Ashleigh King, and I will introduce you to a wealth of interesting, fascinating individuals from all walks of life who will share their stories, how they've overcome challenges, and you will find out their top tips for success. Through this podcast, you can gain tips to grow and change your life and the way you see the world, and help you to nurture your zest. Hi everyone, you're listening to Nurture Your Zest, or watching Nurture Your Zest rather. We are recording this from lockdown, so hopefully you'll enjoy watching with us today. So I am really delighted to share with you tonight's guest, who is Jon Waite. Jon runs his own advertising business called Advertise1, but that's not all he does. He does so many other things within that business, so he will be able to tell us more about all of the amazing things he does. But I think what's really special at the moment is the amount of small businesses who are managing to stay afloat and stay open and stay positive and keep working really hard. So I'm really excited to talk to Jon, because I know recently we've all had huge challenges, and it's great to see how hard he's working to support the other businesses that he helps. So thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll bring Jon into the conversation now to introduce himself. Hi, Jon.
Hello, how are you doing?
I'm great. Great. Nice to see you.
Good, great to see you as well.
So would you like to tell us a bit about yourself?
Yes, so my name is Jon Waite. I am originally from Maryport, which is in West Cumbria, which is 90 miles away from where I'm at now, which is Newcastle, to be more precise, Heaton, which is a nice area to be at the minute during the lockdown, where I've got my house and I've got parked behind the house, so I don't have to go very far. In my work time, I run a business called Advertise1, which focuses on small businesses and improve their online presence and way to do things in-house. I'm still working at the minute, and this is something that at least in the day I can focus on work, and then in the evening I've got other hobbies to be interested in, so I'm not working all the time. In my spare time, I do like cycling, I do like running, I like my concerts, like my pool, like my comedians. So I'll leave it with that for now.
Wow, so you've got heaps of interests there.
Yeah, it's one of them things where um, I've noticed that I get through times in the year where I don't keep on top of all of them, but then I'll go through phases. Photography, for example, which I forgot to mention, I'll either go through a phase where I do loads of it or then not do any for months.
I think that's the thing, isn't it? When you're a small business, a lot of people forget how much work goes into it. I know I've said this a few times on the show, but
Mhm.
you think you're just going to do one thing. You know, it might be help people with their websites, or it might be, in my case, create beautiful, stunning events. But actually, you've got to do the sales and the marketing and your accounts and, networking and edit your website and all these different things that
Oh,
it can
definitely.
be a lot to stay on top of. So I guess hobbies go at the side, don't they?
I do, and the two things that I have learned, I've been full time for 18 months, and it's been part time since April 2015. So 5 years it's been going, and especially in the last 12 months, one thing I have learned is to be able to shut off at a certain time. So I know on Monday I'll work all day Monday. Friday I do calls, and then I get to about 6 or 7 o'clock and say, right, stop. Unless it's just clearing out emails, anything that's gets you thinking, there's no point when it's not going to be as productive as if you're going to sit down and focus on it when you're at full productivity capacity. So that's number one. And number two, you're exactly what you've just said there. There's so many things to think about. I will provisionally plan the day. So I'll put all my meetings in first, because you can't move your meetings and you can't move events. But I then put my jobs in afterwards to say, right, well, the day, if it has to move a little bit, fair enough, it happens. And the different colours on my calendar. But the one thing you do find is what you plan the night before and what actually comes in the day. If that's both matches, great, but it's normally it is two different things.
You're very right, actually. And I love what you're saying there about the color coding, because I do the same. I have to, you know, have colors to be able to focus and see very quickly how much time I'm spending on a particular project. So it's a great way to just very visually tell, especially I guess a little while ago when I first started my business, I was doing a lot of stuff for free. I don't know if you found that at first.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, and when you look at a calendar and you see it color coded, whether it's projects or which clients you're working on, you can tell very quickly where your efforts are being spent and whether you should do that or not.
Well, one thing I've started setting up now, and any listeners who have their own businesses, chances are you've heard of these tools. I've set up Trello to help with all the jobs, and I've got them in categories to do find information, in progress, review, and done. And I've got Slack as well, which then keeps track of what I've done on a day-to-day basis. I've got one placement student on board at the minute who's writing blogs for me for my new website, which should be coming live at some point during May. And I've got my mum who's assisting with the accounts and the general structure of the business because she's furloughed at the minute, so she's got a lot of time to spend learning stuff. And when she'll go back to work, chances are I'll get someone in to replace what she's been doing as an actual placement or employee.
So is that the first time that you've taken on staff, Jon?
Yes, I got to the point late last year, knowing I'm getting busy to the point where I know what I like doing, I know what is profitable, and I've had this conversation many times with your partner Paul sitting in Central Bar, and I thought this. I know now what needs to be done to make the myself more productive, be able to offer more services, and being able to put some stuff aside. And I've heard this before with other people in the community. It's finding that day and the right time to be able to let go of everything and trust someone else to do other stuff for you. And I think that's why it's took so long to do, because it's like, well, this is my little baby. And I know I'm doing it properly. If you want anything done properly, do it yourself sort of scenario. But the other side of it is right, I need to start passing some things off. So this is where blog content from your own site is what I'm starting with, and then there'll be instruction guides. And if I've got the instruction guide available, then there'll be stuff like answering support emails, answering calls. There'll be certain stuff where I will still keep hold of the majority of the main stuff that I do, the website development, the customer service, the training, that sort of stuff.
Sounds excellent. And it's all about using your gifts, what lights you up. If you focus on those things and ask for help from people, getting people in to work on the things you don't really enjoy, it helps you to be able to spend your time and energy to help you grow, right?
Oh, definitely, yeah. And if I look at each year, every year has been different. So technically, I'm in year 6 now. So year 1 and year 2, it was called sort of like this is the idea I want to do. It was the point where I was working for a company in Keswick, and I thought, right, I know what I like doing. They were charging the clients so much, and I was getting a little section of it. And that's when I thought, oh, I, I can do this myself, but I can't do it yet. And I've had the ambition to do it myself. So then as time's gone on, it started off with 3 projects of friends and family. So 2 years later, 2017, I then officially registered as self-employed because at that point I've done 2 years of portfolio, started doing more projects for friends of friends, and started making money to claim back with the HMRC. 18 months after that, that's when I made the decision to then go on my own. Got a loan from the Transmit startup, which is based next door to me in Gateshead. And then everything else after that, it's been a case. I got a lot of work last year. I had a lot in Cumbria, I had a lot in Newcastle. I've got a friend in Barcelona, and she managed to get me a lot of work there. So I was traveling there once a month between May and September. And I still speak to them now. I still got clients over there, but not as much, which for me, it's great at the minute because I can do a lot of the stuff for them while I'm here still in Newcastle. And I thought, right, I know I can get the work. And even during this lockdown, it's proven that I'm still getting inquiries from regular customers and new customers. It just a short it I'm not I start again. I am not struggling to find the work. It does come in waves. So the focus is now let's look at the customer service, let's look at procedures to be able to, back to what we said at the start, build up the company. And then
Exactly.
and it gives me more free time to then do what I want to be doing.
which is great. And what is it that you like doing? So you don't like the blogging and you don't like the finance. What is it that lights you up?
Well, it is. I don't mind doing them, but it's one of them things where why should I be doing it when I can be doing other things which is more profitable? Um, when I first started self-employed, and I remember saying this in a presentation last year, one of the reasons was, oh, I'll have a lot of spare time because I work for myself. And that is the biggest lie I think I've ever told myself during this. No, you don't have more time, but what you do have is more pride because it's your work and you work when you're most productive because you know yourself um, when you're best to do stuff. I love doing my calls and emails in the morning, and I love doing the main bulk of stuff in an afternoon. That's how it works for me. Um, so yeah, it's that sort of thing. So the idea is, yeah, I I want more time. So then what I said initially is, right, I've got more time to go to the gym, do more cycling, do more photography, and be able to have more of a structure to my week.
Exactly, and also by asking for help, you've got more time for well-being, for just finishing at a regular time and having a life, which is great.
Hmm.
So, and the funny thing, which listeners might want to know is, we're in lockdown at the moment, and it's crazy because John and I are both in the same entrepreneurial ecosystem. So we see each other usually once a month, or sometimes more than that. And
Hmm.
the really funny thing for me that I find, really amusing is that we're probably two streets apart, a few
I, w-
streets apart.
I wouldn't even say two streets, you're around the corner.
Yeah, but we wouldn't see each other because it's lockdown, which is funny.
Well,
So,
yeah, and you're saying that I feel like I've got more of a structure now and getting more things done now I'm in lockdown than I did when we weren't. And
so why do you think that is? Do you think part of that is maybe the time you would have taken to get the bus into town or going to events where you may be doing more talking face to face or spending time in the pub with friends?
well, yeah,
Why do you
it is exactly what you've said. Social pressures is what I want to call it, and exactly what you've said. Oh, do you fancy coming to this event? Or last minute think, oh, the event's finished. Do you fancy coming to the pub? And I think a lot of it is when it's unplanned as well, where it's great. Oh, a bit of spontaneous, but then when it's backs up, and as you know, and you're the same, we know so many people in so many different ways. And I've got people that are friends with around here. I've got people that I've got friends with in Cumbria, and it's like anyone who's listening now, I think my close friends do know this. Sometimes I go back to Cumbria and I don't let them know that I'm back because I've gone back to get a few things done or work on customers. And then the minute they find out I'm back, my phone will ring, ding dong, quack, whatever you name it. Oh, you haven't told me you're back, and I could get quite annoyed. So I thought I'd best now go back for a good few days and have at least one day for my business and one day for social.
I think that's nice, and it's nice to have a balance. And people do want to see you. But yes, I do think starting your own business dramatically impacts your friendships and relationships because you just don't have the time that you might have had before. I think it's the security of a full-time job and knowing you've got an income, the same income coming in every month, that can be a challenge. So
Mhm.
you mentioned before that you recently took some funding on. Was that the first time you'd accessed funding, or have you gone through a few funding bids before?
That's the first time that I've actually applied for funding. It was that year, 2018, that I was learning about the startup community. I At the time I was just one of the audience of WordPress Northeast, and I was told then back in February when Campus North used to exist, "Well, come and try Newcastle Startup Week," and then there'll be information there that will help you because I think some people there knew what my motives were. So I booked a week off work, came to Newcastle Startup Week. Uh, there's people in there that I've met for the very first time. I think I only knew about four people in the room when I got there. People that I knew from university and hobbies, and people from WordPress. That's basically all it was. And got to the end of the start week, felt like I gained a bunch of contacts and some friendships as well. Worked on my own stuff over time, and then I got to about September. I thought, right, well, that's it. I'm going on my own. October. It was end of September, beginning of October when it got announced. So I knew I was getting a loan. I remember going into Tuss Park at 8:30 in the morning to speak with Paul Lancaster. I think that's the earliest I've ever been in Tuss Park as well, and talk about my plans. And then since then, it's just been that different things have started happening. Got some work from Cumbria, got some work from Spain, as I've said. I decided to then get an office space over in PROTO, which is the other side of the river, dedicated desking. And then after that, it's just been other things that I've been doing.
So that sounds great. And I'm curious then, how important has that change been in surrounding yourself with, a really helpful mentors or a community? So you mentioned before you hadn't
Mhm.
interacted with those people yet. Would you say that it's helped you grow as a person or as a professional or as a business? Or has there been any change since engaging more with activities around you?
Yeah, I've got two sides to this. So you've got the work, of course, where when people get to know you personally, you start to get more referrals from face to face. And I would say a good 90% of the work that I get is because someone said, "Oh, Jon can do this," and then we get chatting, and then suddenly I'm starting to do stuff. So that has definitely been a big, massive advantage. The other side of it is the social aspect and, of course, the community, where I feel like I've got people that are very similar minded to me, where I can discuss stuff and know that people have similar interests and understand where I'm coming from. Because I found that in past jobs, I could talk about stuff and it was way over because it's not like knowledge that they knew, I was a developer and I work with designers in jobs, or working with general admin, and development for me was always either myself or a small team. So I felt that I had the community with me at events or through the day, that when I actually got home in an evening, I was actually happy to see my house. Where when I was working for a day job, I was coming in and I felt bored and itching to be out of the house.
That's so interesting. Yeah, I really resonate with that. I've had similar thoughts, and now I really enjoy going home. It's a really nice space. Whereas before, I think I was always searching for something. And I think
Mhm,
if you are entrepreneurially minded, which I believe anybody can be, for me, it's really unlocked something. I'm having so much fun with what I'm doing, and I think
mhm.
it's almost a bit of a thrill because you never know what your day is going to be like or where things are going to take you. But at the same time, there's also unexpected thrills, like for everybody with this coronavirus. So
Of
I'd
course.
love to ask you, how has that impacted you in your business?
Well, it's I was quite intrigued like how it all panned out with the existing work, where a lot of the big jobs which I've quoted and just about to start all got put on hold. So financially, that was one hell of a dent. So, but I know they're coming back. I think there's only been one that's been cancelled. Everything else is still coming back. So at least I can move on with other things until they come back around again. But what I have found is a lot of the existing customers who are very good at what they do in their day-to-day job, because they're closed to the general public, then they're focusing more on their in-house stuff. And therefore, I'm getting a lot of little stuff to fill my time in. So what I'm doing now is I'm mixing up my in-house stuff and also the customer stuff, where I'm balancing the two, and I feel more organized in myself, knowing that I'm actually getting the business improvement done, but I'm also looking after the existing customers as well. And there's even new customers still contacting with small inquiries as well. In May, there will be other services coming out, more subscriptions, like website builder packages. So it's really given me a good chance to think about stuff. And because I'm not commuting and I'm saving time there, and I've got more time at home, of course, with the lockdown, and the not no social activities apart from the video calls with some of the stuff. There's no going to the pub. It's really giving me a chance to research stuff and really have a good brainstorm, not think about it for 5 minutes, then suddenly move on to something else.
And that's one of the challenges of entrepreneurship is we can bounce from one idea to another if you don't make time to be focused and work on your processes and things like that. So we have our lovely Suki, who's probably Nurture Zest's biggest fan.
Yeah, hi, Suki.
Hi Suki, it's so nice to see you. And how is Spanish going, Jon?
Muy bien. perfecto, más o menos. Yeah, it's something that I'm enjoying, and I'm doing every Wednesday evening through Zoom. So it is something that I look forward to, and the fact that I know that I'll go back again. I say it'll be end of this year or next year, all depends when it's safe to fly. It is one of them things that I feel like I learn it and I'm interested in it, and then I get my exam when I get the real scenario when I'm out there on my
So
own.
is this a very strategic thing you're doing then? You're learning Spanish so you can better serve your customers in Spain?
Yeah, so I knew I had customers in Spain at the time, and I seen the free taster course. This would have been about late 2018 or early last year. I thought, oh, I'll try the taster course, and I enjoyed it that much. I thought, right, well, this is a hobby that because I'm paying for it in blocks, and I know it's a certain night each week, that I know because I've paid for it, it's going to convince me to go to the course. And it's just nice that I get away from the computer screen. And also,
Absolutely.
I'm reacting with people as well that is not work related. That is, I'm reacting with people because of a hobby. So it's a definitely, if I had a busy week, that's definitely was one way that I know I'm definitely shutting off.
Absolutely. And you're still doing the pub stuff with your pub friends, doing quizzes, right?
Yeah, so that's later on tonight. So the Bodega pub, which is by the Tyne Theatre, they have a online quiz which is live streamed. So they broadcast that through a channel called Twitch, which there's loads of them out there now that are doing these live broadcasts similar to YouTube and Facebook. And then we're using Zoom to contact all my friends with. We all have different rounds that we all know stuff. So one of my friends, he knows history well. One of them knows sports and books, and one of I'm okay at the music round depending on the week and the genre. But together, we do form a good team. There were 54 teams last week. We came third. We were happy.
Wow, that's amazing. I don't know how well I would do in a quiz team. I feel like I've had my head in books a lot this year. I haven't really
Mhm.
been watching much TV or news, so I feel like I would struggle if I was in a pub quiz, but I'm glad that you did so well. That's incredible.
Well, yeah, I'm exactly like you. If it was like what's going on today, I would struggle. But I've got one of my friends who's very good at that sort of stuff.
Excellent. Well, thanks for sharing how it's been working for the business and, some of the the ways that funding and, extra staff is helping you grow. I'd love to know more about you as a person, Jon. So, you are originally from Cumbria, from
Yeah,
Maryport, that's right?
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and what's Cumbria like to grow up in? What was it like growing up?
Well, where I'm from, it is a small seaside town, and because it's quite a small town, it's a place where everyone knows everyone, and it is nice as you're growing up, especially through school, that it's a case where everyone does kind of mingle in a way. It's one of them things where at school you had your cliques, but when you got older, anyone will speak to everyone, which is quite nice. So when I go back out there and decide to show my face out in a local town, you'll be like, "Oh, all right, Jon, how you doing? Oh, he's waiting, he's back." Because that's one of my nicknames, and it's nice to go back to that, and especially with all my family living over there. Apart from two people, my sister and my brother. My sister's in Gateshead, my brother's in Liverpool, but everyone else is down there. And because I can drive, it takes me less than 2 hours to get back on an evening. So it's not the hardest of journeys to do. So, of course, I go back and I just feel like, right, I'm at home. And I feel like there is sort of my relaxation area. And then Newcastle is where I learn and build up the business because trying to do my stuff in Cumbria, it is a very small region, and I think I would struggle just on there. But the fact that I focused with both areas, it's nice work-wise, and then personally, I've got friends here for hobbies, and I've got people that I grew up school with that we're happy to have a good catch up and do stuff as well.
Perfect. Thank you so much for sharing that. So, as a child, you actually survived, a really serious illness, and
Mhm.
I think that's incredible. And I'd love it if you could share some of that story with us.
Yeah, definitely. So, oh, I'm trying to think. It'd be September, October 1999 is when I got diagnosed with leukemia. So, in school terms, that'll be in year three. in secondary. So I've only been in school a few weeks at that point. And I remember going to Whitehaven Hospital, which is the local hospital where I'm from, and they knew that, yeah, it's leukemia. The local hospital in my town had a presumption it was. Next morning, straight to the RBI, because that's the closest hospital that treats children's cancer. They don't have anywhere in Cumbria that does so. So came to the RBI, got me treatment. I think I missed a good chunk of year three, at least half, less than half attendance for year three. Year four was in a bit more, year five a bit more, and I think I had a decent attendance for year six. So, anyways, basically most of junior school, I was very in and out. So I had 3 years at the RBI. I was the first person to be on a 3-year protocol, and the consultant who was my basically the mentor as well, a consultant for leukemia. His name's Kevin Winterbank, which in the community, that's Charlotte Winterbank's dad, which I only worked this out back at Christmas, which if she's listening now in the future, there you go, a little fact for you. So when it was coming to picking universities, I looked at a few. I looked at Preston, I looked at Manchester. Manchester was on my list for a long time, but they didn't have the course that I wanted in one university that I've been met. At the main uni, I couldn't get the grade. Preston wasn't quite right for me. It felt too small. And when I came to the open date Northumbria University, I thought, well, it felt like a second home anyways, because I was traveling so much to Newcastle. And I thought, right, I know this place anyway. It's far enough away to know that I'm away from home, but close enough if I ever want to come back at last minute, sort of thing on a weekend.
But also in a city that I guess felt safe for you because it helped you as a child, going through that, the medical staff of
Mhm.
Newcastle, helping you in that way. So I'm delighted that you were able to find a uni so close to home, because it is, I think, having studied in Newcastle upon Tyne myself at both Northumbria and Newcastle universities, I think it's a really fantastic city, very vibrant and full of fabulous people.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I tried moving back to Cumbria early 2015. Sorry, late 2014, early 2015. It was at a point where a lot of university friends disappeared. I just took a job for the sake of it. I broke up with an ex-girlfriend at the time, and I thought, you know what? I think it's time to move back to Cumbria. And got through Christmas, great. Got through January, and I realised this was a bad idea. It was too quiet, and being back. Uh, Going from student accommodation, living back with parents, that was quite a different transition. And I thought I'm definitely independent, and for my sort of skill set and the stuff that I like doing, I need to be back in the city. So I think I was in Cumbria for about 8 months, and it was June that year in 2015 that I ended up coming back to Newcastle. September that year, I decided, you know what, I don't mind working hard. I'll get my own place. 'Cause I was also living with flatmates as well, where it was friends of friends, just ended up being acquaintances where I would tidy up the flat one day, disappear for a couple of hours, come back, there'd be absolute tips. So I purposely thought to myself, right, get my own flat, which I'm renting round the corner for myself, and I've been here for 5 years now. Um, Work on the skill set because I've always been into computing, but I'm not one of these people that I can sit down at a computer screen all day and do coding. I'm more creative into that, and I was going to do radio production at university, and then as time's gone on, I got interested in websites at university, and also websites now and social media is classed as a media platform. And I thought, right, I can combine both one of my biggest hobbies and one of my skills together in one, and that's why I do what I do now.
That's excellent. I love hearing about that and how you've come to turn those strengths and those interests into a business. It's kind of the way I've done things as well. Sometimes you don't really mean to go down a certain path, but things
Mhm.
open up for you, don't they?
Oh, definitely. And I think that was one of the things that about Len. I thought, right, well, at least I know I need to be in a city. And I think, and as I was saying earlier on in this conversation, I got to a point about 2018. So that was 2 years ago. It was about this time 2 years ago where I was actually looking to buy a house, and I wasn't making enough at a day job to be able to get a mortgage. I thought, right, what do I want to do more? Keep working until the point I can get a mortgage or go on my own, and if and then just hold the house idea for a few years, but make something which is my own.
Yeah,
I,
exactly. And for now, it might, it might be hard work now, but in time, all that time you nurturing your business and growing it. I've always thought that. I used to sometimes sit in previous businesses, previous organizations that I've worked in and think, why am I working these long hours and like putting 105 or more, like 150% into this role, going above and beyond, when actually I could do my own thing and channel all that energy into that. I was very naive then. I didn't realize how much work goes into businesses at the time. But
yeah.
yeah,
Have you ever seen the cartoon Mr. Ben or not?
I haven't, no.
Right, well, I would advise you YouTube Mr. Ben and anyone who's listening now. Basically, every day is a different character. So one day is basically a butcher, one day is work like a postman or something like that. And it's just interesting how I feel the same way. You've got a different hat on every day.
Perfect. I love that. Suki's asking what it's like to have your own newspaper page.
That was interesting. I wasn't expecting that. Like, I do have a story behind that. One of my brother's friends, I contacted the newspaper, say, right, I want to get something out there. I knew a few people in the local newspaper just to try and push the like yeah, basically what I'll do and just let it no start again. Basically get the idea out there to say, right, this is what I do. If you want my services, here we go. I went to a phase where I was really busy, then I went really quiet. From like I think September when I first went full time till January, I was busy. February and March I went really quiet all of a sudden, and then got busy again in April. So that's where I thought, right, let's do some advertising here. And so I said, can I do an article? So my initial article got rejected, but they said, I'll tell you what, we'll put you in the business section of the paper, and basically sent me a question sheet of the questions to ask, which is very similar questions to what you've asked, and the Newcastle Start Week has asked as well. So I sent them over, and I said, well, what is it? Um, what are you going to do with it? So I waited a couple of weeks and they said, right, we'll get you in Whitehaven News. I'll get you into the local paper Times and Star. You'll have your section there. So I thought, great. So I knew what day that get published. And I remember saying to my parents, I said, when you go to the garage, can you get a copy of the newspaper? I should have a small article in there. I'm using small lightly here. And say, yeah, I'll get one. So that was that night, and then about midday the next day, I can't say like exact text because they use language I can't really use, but basically the context of it is, wow, I didn't expect this big of an article. This is a full page spread. Well done, I'm proud of you. And I didn't even say thanks, anything like that. I just sent a message back, full page spread, question mark, question mark. And say, yeah, you took up a whole paper. Yeah, the half an hour journey that it takes my parents to get to work, my mum spent that time reading that article. So I said, right, can you send me a photo of this? I said, I'll get a copy when I come back at the weekend because I knew I was going back to Cumbria on that Friday. So I said, I'll get a copy on that Friday. And so a guy did my mum said, right, can you take a photo on your tablet? So guide her how to do that. And she sent me a photo and I went, wow, I wasn't expecting that. So I got a little shock then. So when I actually physically got hold of the paper, I'm like, wow.
Did you frame it?
I haven't got it framed, but I do have a copy in a plastic wallet in the room next door, and I've got another one which is the NE Times as well, where I was on the front of that with some of the other tenants over PROTO. But
Brilliant.
I might actually get it framed. So I like that idea. I'll get the printers and get a full copy, but I've got the original paper like still available. I think I've got two copies of it. I've got so if I'm going to clients for the first time and explain like what I've done, sometimes I show them that and it works.
I like it. Yeah, absolutely. That's brilliant. Well, yeah, and I really enjoyed chatting to you before and hearing a bit about your personal life. And I did have a follow-up question. I wanted to ask, being so young, going through something really difficult like leukemia, did
Mhm.
you understand what was going on at the time and how did people treat you?
Because I was 8 years old at the time. I was actually in hospital on, I think it was seven at the time, and it was my eighth birthday that was in hospital. Yeah, that's right. Because I was born in 91, it's 1999. Yeah, doing some math in my head there. So the general leukemia itself wasn't too bad for me and the experiences of it. And I remember coming back home after the 2 weeks I was in hospital with like a load of get well soon and welcome home signs and cards and that sort of stuff. I think the hardest bit of it was when I lost my hair and then I was wearing a cap at school, and it's more like, why is he allowed to wear a hat and I'm not? Sort of scenario, and then people pick on me just because they can't get their own way, or the fact that I was bald and everyone else had hair. And that was the hardest part of it. The uh, rest of it, I didn't find too bad. I think actually the other side, the one injection I think I had, I think it was either bone marrow lumbar puncture, and it was okay most of the time. But when I've been sitting in the 2 hour drive going back to Cumbria, at the last leg of the journey used to be quite painful because I've sat for that long.
Ab-
Apart from that, I don't remember much else that's been like shock. I got through it quite well.
That's really good because I guess one of my questions would have been,
Mhm.
sometimes things happen to us when we're younger and they can stay with us for a long time, or they can be
Mhm.
trauma or challenge us in some way. So I'm glad that, such a scary thing as an 8-year old, you had the support structure around you, the
Mhm.
family love and care, and that you felt okay about it. That's really good.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the things that you've rightly said. Some people are affected in different ways, and because I got at an age where I wasn't too young, where like because I think if you get it as a child, it can be quite bad, but because I didn't get it as an adult as well, it's one of them things where my life feels quite normal, because of it as well.
Cool. Well, thank you for sharing that. I would love to know, Jon. So you've run a business for 5 years. You've
Hmm.
been some of that has been part-time, some of it's been full-time. You've recently
Yeah.
taken on staff. You've just taken on some funding. Are there any resources or books or anything that you've done that you would highly recommend to anybody?
I've got a pile of books that I need to still read from start to finish. So we'll ignore the books part because there's so many that I've maybe read or seen clips of, which I thought great. It's really good. One thing that I have found is getting out there, networking. You learn what it is you like. Now, I'm not saying about who offers the best pizzas and the best alcohol because I know some people attend events for that. I know sometimes I've gone for my tea as well. But the other thing is who the people that you want to work with, who the people you want by your side, who you want to socialize with, but then also what interests you. And I think when you first start out, and I'm not the only one, basically you are a serial networker that you attend every single thing. And I've actually had that comment before that, oh, you attend everything. As time's gone on, I am less and less, but then I'm more regular to the ones that I'm interested in. So I've got a handful that I know that yeah, I'll definitely attend that, or if I'm free, I'll attend that. And then there's some where it's like, well, it's there, but chances are, unless I'm actually bored, I'm not gonna really go because it's not really my sort of thing anymore. And that's I think the biggest advice that I can offer anyone is find out what it is, like within the industry. I have so many people that start off businesses like have the idea and they say, "Oh, great, great, this is," and then they actually get the product out there and they realize it doesn't work because they haven't really chatted about it, or they realize where they will go for help, and realize they're spending loads of time just reading stuff or watching YouTube videos and they're going around in circles.
It's a really good tip. I think a lot of people start businesses and don't know who they're for, what they're offering, who's going
Yeah.
to be buying their work or their customers. I certainly had a bit of that myself, actually. I just kind of thought, oh, well, I've got some skills, maybe someone will pay for them. But actually, what happens is you sort of flounder for a while. And
Hmm.
it's only when you become really targeted on who you can help that you can really see. Um, I think that's really powerful advice there, Jon. Thank you. And I love what you said about some things you love to go to, but some you just don't, because that's really good. Time management. We've only got so much time, and you want to
Hmm.
go to stuff that it's going to be worth your while. But also what you said about, you know, sometimes you do just need to go because the pizza's good and you need to pay your rent.
Oh, definitely. I've known I've had a day where I've had my breakfast, dinner, and tea in one go. Or I've had a week where I haven't had to cook. It's the one thing that's happened in this lockdown. I have cooked loads and I've ate a lot healthier. I am quite impressed with that side, and I've got ingredients in the cupboard that have been sitting there to nearly the sell-by date that I've actually used up now.
Excellent. I love that. So, I think chatting to you, it sounds like you've had a lot of courage going through stuff as a kid, but also courage to leave your home and your hometown and to move to Newcastle and to start your own business. So I'm really excited to hear, you know, now you've been running this 5 years. What
Yeah.
are your plans for the future? You're wanting to grow, but are you also wanting to give back to other entrepreneurs or to support other mentors, you know, mentoring students? You've got an intern right now, you said?
Yeah, so definitely, one of the reasons that I started off what I do is that I like talking to people, and I get a buzz knowing that I've helped people. So if it's a case of a customer, of you like quite rightly what you've just said there, people in my shoes. And one event that I do like, which I've attended with you, is the Newcastle University Startup one, where I attend that for that reason, where I can teach people or have chats with people saying this is what I've done, or advise people what's going to be coming in the future, and it's interesting in that respect. So going back to what you said with growing in the future, yeah, I've got a girl at the minute, Phoebe she's called, and she's a Salford University student, and she found me saying, "Oh, I'm a PR student. I am Salford University. My boyfriend lives in Newcastle, and I want to learn." Um, Something different, but close to my degree. So she's looking more under the advertiser, and then of course a different city. So the initial plan during the placement was to take to a load of events and show that side of the industry, and how you don't have to be in a big corporate company to then be able to do what you're good at. Turns out that of course that no events are happening. So doing blog writing. I'm going to have a Zoom call for tomorrow to go through some of the software and procedures which go on at the minute. And then what I could also do is invite to some of the online networking as and when it happens, if she wants to join or not. So how things have changed is a different matter. And I've also got my mum also helping out as well, because she's been furloughed from her main job. So uh, I literally about a week before lockdown, I bought a tablet for myself, a new one. I gave my mum my old one for the sake of less than 10 a month. It is more beneficial for me to pay that, because it's saving the amount of phone calls that I'm doing, explaining why is this not done? What is it that you're actually doing? So why do you do this way? The fact that Slack and Trello is installed, and there's going to be an Excitopedia soon with all the information. I can say, right, just look at it on a daily basis. It's all there. Especially if I like tonight, I'll be at a pub quiz. She could be sitting there reading what I've been up to in the day, and then of course, it's understanding, and then we get that structure correct. So then, when she goes back to work, then I can then look at someone else to replace that role, knowing that the inside fundamentals are set up and also being practiced and checked as well.
Perfect. I love that. It's good. And I love how you're thinking strategically and planning ahead, which is really important. So I'm just mindful of the time because we've got the NHS clapping, well, clap for carers tonight. So I want to make
Yeah,
sure we finish early. Can I
of
just
course.
ask, what is your number one word to nurture your zest?
Oh, now I know you've asked me this question, and it's one of them things where I have to think about it. Has courage been used or not?
It has not.
Right, because the first thing I've just remembered is a song. I can't remember who sings it. I might have to look for the answer. Courage is when you're afraid, but you keep on going anyways. I might have to like quickly look for the title, but it is. I just remember that song. I done a presentation about it. I think in year 9 of school or year 8. It was secondary school, and I've always remembered that song of when you're moving forward. So I'm going to use the word courage.
I love that. I think that would be my second favorite one if it wasn't Zest, of course. But yes, great. Well, thank you for sharing your courage with us, sharing your story. And I hope you have a lovely evening. And we really appreciate you coming on the show.
Not a problem. Thank you very much for having me. We've tried a few times to get me on. We've had I was meant to be on in February, but of course we've had the Valentine's Day special, and then of course with March a lockdown happened, so we've got there in the end.
We have. Thank you so much, and we'll see you soon.
Yes, see you soon, Ashleigh.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thank you so much, everyone, for listening to or watching Nurture Your Zest with us tonight. So as you know, we are doing this at home during lockdown. Normally, we are in a professional studio in Newcastle upon Tyne. So we're really missing that whole professional vibe. But it's amazing what you can do at home with just a few pieces of equipment. I just want to give a shout out to our next guest on Tuesday. So on Tuesday, we're talking to Steve Pugh, who is a incredible entrepreneurial leader and strategist. He's a mechanical engineer, a chartered mechanical engineer. So he has a brilliant mind for fixing problems and helping businesses and individuals or companies to think very strategically about their business and solve problems. So Steve will be chatting to us on Tuesday all about the type of work he does, how he helps people, and how he's getting through the lockdown. So I'm really looking forward to that, and I hope you enjoyed listening to Jon tonight. If you have any feedback or you want to chat to me, drop me a line at Ashleigh@NurtureYourZest, and it was so nice to chat to you. Thank you so much. Bye.
You've been listening to Nurture Your Zest. You can find us online on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram and LinkedIn at Nurture Your Zest. If you've liked today, please subscribe. You can also leave us a review if you're feeling extra kind. Today's podcast has been made available through the kind sponsorship of TL Multimedia and That Branding Company. We look forward to catching up with you again soon as you learn to nurture your zest.